Imagine, you're sitting like 90 feet away from a speaker in this massive, dimly lit auditorium, but you need to stream their face to thousands of people.
Right, and in crystal clear 4K.
Exactly. And without a single camera operator in the room.
Which sounds completely impossible, honestly.
It does. But today, welcome to the deep dive, because we are unpacking the exact piece of gear that makes that happen.
Yeah, we're looking at a pretty dense product page for the PTZOptics PT20X-STUDIO-4K-GY-G3 camera.
Quite a mouthful. But our mission today is to decode those technical specs so you can see what actually separates a standard webcam from a, professional broadcast tool. So, okay, let's unpack this, starting with the literal glass.
Which is exactly where we should start. I mean, the lens dictates what's even possible before any of the software gets involved.
Right, so the specs list a 4K 60 resolution, a 72.5-degree wide field of view, and 16x digital zoom.
But the critical piece is that 12x optical zoom.
Yeah, optical is key here.
Yeah.
Because unlike your phone, which just crops the image and...
Stretches those pixels until they look like a blurry mosaic.
Right, totally. This camera is physically moving actual glass lenses inside the housing. It magnifies the image before the light ever hits the sensor. So it's like sitting in the back row of a massive venue, but getting a pristine, unpixelated front row view.
What's fascinating here is the sheer physics of that optical capability. It translates directly into capturing perfect head and shoulder shots from up to 90 feet away.
Wow, 90 feet.
Yeah. And the source notes actually highlight that this is exactly why it's ideal for medium to large spaces. So think sports arenas, courtrooms, or worship services.
Places where you physically cannot put a camera right in someone's face.
Exactly. It would completely ruin the event for the people actually in the room.
Right. So we have this massive zoom capability, but capturing the image is really only half the battle.
Oh, absolutely. Getting the signal out is the other half.
Yeah, because if you're 90 feet away in a stadium, running traditional video cables back to a control room is an absolute nightmare.
A very expensive nightmare.
Right. So how does this camera solve the wiring problem? I was looking at the back of this thing, and it has an SDI port, which I usually only see those in heavy-duty TV studios.
Yeah.
Because of those locking cables.
Right, the BNC connectors.
Yeah. So isn't a standard USB-C good enough for modern streaming? Or are they expecting this to plug straight into a massive live switcher?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really comes down to the scale and the reliability of the production.
Okay.
I mean, USB-C is fantastic if you're just streaming from a desktop, but SDI is essential if you're plugging directly into those large-scale professional switchers.
Where a bumped cable could just ruin the whole broadcast.
Exactly. But the real game changer solving that 90-foot wiring nightmare is PoE+, or Power over Ethernet.
Okay, so how does that work?
Think of it like this. If the lens is the eye, the PoE+ cable is the spinal cord. It carries both the electrical power to keep the camera alive and the data signals back to the brain.
Over just one single cable?
Yep, just one standard Ethernet cable.
That is wild. And the spec sheet also mentions IP streaming formats, like NDI and SRT.
Right.
Meaning it can send broadcast quality video right over a standard local Wi-Fi or Ethernet network, so you don't need dedicated video cables snaked all the way through the walls.
Precisely. It utilizes the IT infrastructure a building probably already has.
Okay, but that brings up a practical issue for me.
What's that?
Well, once this camera is mounted high up on a stadium wall, just plugged into its single Ethernet cable, how do you actually operate it during a live event?
Ah, right, the software side.
Yeah, because the sources say the camera is Hive linked to the Hive Studio platform. And it works with the Camera Management Platform, or CMP, for auto tracking. Plus, it plugs directly into OBS.
It is quite an alphabet soup of software.
It is. I just have to wonder, does requiring all these cloud platforms and plugins overcomplicate things for a solo user who just wants to stream their event?
I get that. It sounds intimidating. But this ecosystem actually simplifies broadcasting immensely.
Really? How so?
Think about the logistics for that solo user. Because the camera is tied into these cloud networks, one person can manage an entire multi-camera setup remotely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they can adjust color correction, switch the feeds. They can even let the CMP software physically auto-track the subject as they walk across a stage.
So you basically don't need a massive on-site camera crew.
Exactly. It removes that overhead entirely.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Decoding these specs really reveals that this device isn't just some standalone box you slap on a tripod.
Not at all.
It's an entire network-connected production studio, one designed to elevate a live stream from amateur to professional without that traditional overhead.
Yeah, it fundamentally changes the infrastructure required to produce high-quality live video.
Which leaves you with a really interesting question to ponder.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Well, with technologies like PoE Plus requiring only one cable for power and data, and platforms like Hive Studio offering, remote control and automated tracking from literally anywhere on Earth, are we approaching an era where live physical events will be broadcast entirely without human camera operators in the room?
Wow, that is definitely something to think about the next time you tune into a live stream.